Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about how you can create a budget and track your expenses. So I think it's safe to say that most people are living paycheck to paycheck and they're spending as much as they make. So in order to become financially free and gain that financial independence, you need to create a budget to track your spending and know how much you can spend on certain things. And when creating a budget, knowledge really is power. And the first step to creating a budget is knowing where your money's going and how much money you're making. So the first part in creating a budget is you need to know what your expenses are. And I like to put these into two different categories. One, your reoccurring monthly expenses, and just all your other expenses in general. So let's start with those reoccurring expenses that can be like your rent or your mortgage, your car payment, car insurance, gas, gym membership, streaming services, like your monthly Netflix charge or Hulu or whatever it might be. Then let's add groceries as the last one on our list. So these are going to be our reoccurring expenses, or expenses that are going to cost about the same every month. And we're going to highlight these in gray to kind of show that these are our reoccurring expenses. And then you're going to want to list all of the other expenses you might have. So maybe fast food, which can vary month to month, or maybe you needed to register your car that month. You know, this could be maybe your Amazon purchases or vacation money that you've spent, or maybe you bought your family or some friends some birthday gifts, stuff like that. And just list out all of your expenses here, and we're just going to end there for simplicity. All right, so now we're going to put the months across. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, all the way back to December here. Then what we're going to want to do is quantify these reoccurring expenses. So we know, for example, that our rent is going to be $1,000 a month every single month unless we move or buy a new house or something like that. And we're actually going to put these in terms of accounting. And then we know our car payment, let's say, is going to be about $300. Kind of the same thing unless we get a new car or something like that. Let's say our car insurance is $100. Gas can vary a little bit, but let's just say that's $120 a month. We have a $20 a month gym membership. We spend $15 a month on Netflix and about $200 on groceries every month. And what we can do is then drag these all the way across for each month. Since we know that these are going to be reoccurring unless we make some sort of change. Now we're going to hold off on recording any of our other expenses that we may have come up with. And we're going to leave that to the end, and I'll explain why later on. But then we're going to have a totals column here. And basically we're just going to do a sum function of this entire column, and we're going to drag that across. So as of now, our monthly expenses are $1,755, not including any of the other expenses that we have to record. All right, so now what we're going to want to do is insert a couple spaces up here. I'm just going to insert a few. And we're going to want to track our income now. So this is all the money that we are making. So that can come in your form of your salary. Maybe you have dividend stocks that you collect on a quarterly or monthly basis. Maybe you have a couple rental properties and you're collecting rent off them, and any other source of income that you might have. And we can copy these months, put them up here again. All right, so let's say our salary each month we're making about $2,500 a month. Put these in accounting terms as well. And let's say we're making about $50 off dividends every month. Not a lot, but maybe enough to pay for our Netflix and our gym membership. And let's say our rentals, after we collect rent and pay the mortgage on the property, we get about $100 a month in rent from our tenants. And we'll drag that across because that's pretty reoccurring, that's pretty constant. And then we'll add one more column here below. Whoops. and we'll have a totals column. All right, and then we're going to do a sum function of this column, and that's going to get us our monthly revenue or our monthly income, so the money that we have available to spend every month. All right, so now we've pretty much calculated everything we already know, right? We know how much we're making, we know our expenses, we just haven't included our other miscellaneous expenses quite yet. And this is where the budget part comes into play. So we could insert a couple columns here, and we're going to do this budget part. So up here, we then want to calculate how much money we have left over after all of our expenses. So what we'll do, we'll take our total income and subtract it from our total expenses. And that'll show us how much money we have left over after all of our reoccurring expenses. And I'm going to put the months back up here as well. And we can drag that function across. And then what I like to do is divide it into two separate columns. So you have a couple options with this leftover money. You can spend it on whatever you want, or you can save it or invest it to make more money over time. So we have a savings and investing section. All right, and then we have our kind of our fun money, on money we can spend on vacation or whatever we want, right? And then what we're going to want to do is here, and I'm going to put this in a box, is we're going to want to know a percentage. So let's say with all the money we have left over every month, we want to put 60% of that into savings or in some sort of investment. And then 40% of it we want to spend on fun money or whatever we want, eating out, vacation, or whatever on these other expenses. So then what we're going to do is we're going to take that $895 or the money left over and times that by 60%. And we're going to want to lock that, so $sign in front of the A and the 4, so that we can drag this across. And according to the money we have left over in the percentage we want to save or invest, $537 should be contributed to this category. And then we can do the same here. We'll take the leftover money times that by 40%. So 60% plus 40% is 100%. We're also going to want to lock that, drag that across. And as we can see, we want to be able to spend $358 on whatever we want. And granted, if you want more money for fun money, or you want less, or you want more in savings, or vice versa, you can increase that to maybe 50, decrease that to 50% to get 100, and you can kind of see how this budget will change according to what your goals or your priorities are. So let's go back to 60/40, and then here is where you're going to be recording all of your other expenses. And actually we're going to add one more column here, and that's just going to be our savings column, right? All right, but let's say that it's currently February, right? So January has already passed before we started creating our budget. So let's say in January we spent, $200 on fast food. Let's say we traveled a little bit after Christmas with our family. We spent, maybe $250 traveling across the U.S. to Florida or something like that. We had to register our car for $30. And so we spent an extra $480 for our total expenses. And then we can come up here and see that we had $415 left. So let's say we never spent that $415 and we just saved it. So we have $415 in our bank account. And so this will be zero, right? So let's say we spent all of our money, but we saved $415. So then we can come to the next month and see that our budget is based off of our reoccurring expenses. And we can look at the previous month and see, well, hey, maybe I want to spend a little bit less on fast food so that I can meet that savings or investing goal. Or maybe I need to get a cheaper car, so maybe I'll sell mine, get maybe a used car or something where it doesn't have a car payment or a low car payment, so I can have an extra $300 a month to use for fun money or savings, depending on my goals or priorities. So this way you can you have a set budget, but then you can reevaluate the past months and your progress and how you did to determine how you can meet your budget for this month or adjust it accordingly. So the key is tracking all of your finances and making sure you know where your money is going, because that way you can reach your budget's goal or reevaluate your budget depending on how much you're normally spending. So this way you're spending as much as you have or less than you have, so that you're not going into debt for things without even really realizing it, which I think is super easy to do, especially with credit cards. And so once you have this budget created, you can format it however you want. I'll make it look a little bit prettier, because obviously this doesn't look super nice. It's kind of ugly, but maybe we can have our income in blue, and since expenses are kind of, have a bad connotation, we'll put that in like orange, kind of a reddish, more of a negative tone, and you can kind of color this, format it however you want. I just wanted to show you the basic layout for a simple budget that you can create that will help you track your expenses and the money you're making so that you can reach the goals you have financially. So there are a couple reasons why you might be wanting to save money month to month. And one of those reasons is that it provides a safety net or a safety cushion for you in case of unemployment or in case of some emergency where you need a little bit of extra money. You have that cushion to help provide for you, so you're not taking out more debt. Creating a budget that helps you save money is going to help you to be able to put that money into investments or other things that are going to generate you more money. Overall, you want to create a budget because it's going to help you to spend less than what you're making, so that you don't have to take out a ton of debt and all these other things that are just going to bring you farther and farther down the financial rabbit hole. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it makes sense, and hopefully you can create your own budget based off this video. If you have a comment, please leave it below, smash the like button, subscribe, and have a great rest of your day.